So I just want to tell you, you're very close to D.C. The restaurants are thriving. The restaurants were dying. They were closing one after another. Now they're thriving. They're opening up beautiful new restaurants. Washington, D.C. is safe. And I even went there and had dinner the other night. And I stood right smack in the middle of the street. Secret Service was thrilled. And I gave a news conference. It's a safe place now. Washington, D.C., it's always going to be. Our nation's capital is always going to be safe. We're never going to let that happen again, what happened there. One of the most beautiful places. We're doing a big beautification program. It'll take me very little, very short, but we're doing a beautification program to go along with the security and safety. We're getting rid of the graffiti, the potholes, the broken medians between roads. We're doing a real job, and you'd be proud of it. I think everybody here is proud of it, frankly. It's our nation's capital, and that has to be clean, beautiful, and safe. The U.S. Navy always stands for America. As your commander-in-chief, I will always stand for you. I promise you that. You know that. That's why you voted for me in numbers that nobody's ever seen before. And I want you to know that despite the current Democrat-induced shutdown, we will get our service members every last penny. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You'll worry about it. Do not worry about it. It's all coming. It's coming. And even more because I'm supporting the across-the-board pay raises for every sailor and service member of the United States Armed Forces. But we have to take care of this little gnat that's on our shoulder called the Democrats. They want to give all of our money to illegal aliens that pour into the country. And, you know, I have a bigger heart than they do. But the problem is when you do that, they come in by the millions. Everybody wants that, so you can't do it. But I've also pledged the largest ever investment in our military's history. We're spending over $1 trillion. We've never had anything like that before. $1 trillion on our military, and that includes, along with your Secretary of the Navy and Pete Hegseth, we're going to be building lots of ships and doing a lot of things that you haven't seen happen for 35 years. We'll soon revitalize our once great shipyards with hundreds of billions of dollars in new investments and people coming from all around the world, and they're going to build ships in America. We want them built in America. And as I told our generals and admirals last Tuesday, we are getting wokeness the hell out of our military. It's gone. It's really gone. I don't know that it was ever really here. I think some of the top people had it. I knew a few of them that were they were major losers. But they were losers. Unlike our great general, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, who may be here, Dan Raisin Cane. You know Raisin Cane? When I heard his name, I said, that's the guy I'm looking for. But he's been an amazing warrior, and, you know, he was the one headed up the attack on Iran. And everything he's touched has turned out great. He knocked out ISIS. So I was told it would take 4 to 5 years to beat ISIS. When he came on board, he did it in 4 weeks. We knocked him out in 4 weeks. 100% of the ISIS caliphate. Is Dan Kane here? He is, you know why? Because he's working. That's the one thing. We don't have to worry about him. But he is a fantastic man. It's the man I wanted right from the beginning. I said, if I ever do this again and if I could get lucky enough to win, because we have a base like nobody in history has had, I said, I'm going to pick Raisin Cane as the chairman. And that's what we did, and he's been incredible. We will not be politically correct when it comes to defending American freedom. That's why we have renamed the Department of Defense at Department of War, as I said, and we have changed the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. That was easy. That was an easy one. You know, for years I've looked at it, and I added it up, and I figured we have 92% of the frontage. I say, how come we call it the Gulf of Mexico? I mean, I wouldn't say that Mexico is thrilled with me, but what are you going to do? It's the Gulf of America, and I love it now. I was watching the other night a report, and they said very routinely, in the Gulf of America, this is the, you know, they just went on to talk about it. They didn't do it with a smirk or a smile. They didn't say, in the Gulf of America. No, it's called the Gulf of America now, and nobody's playing games with it. We got sued by the Associated Press, and they lost. In fact, the judge was so good, he said, he's calling it the Gulf of America. He's got all the approvals. You have to do that, too, to the very liberal Associated Press. They got thrown out of court. In fact, they're almost not allowed to cover me anymore because of that. It was a big hit. So I'm very proud of that. Under our leadership, the spirit of the American forces is soaring like it has never soared before. I think right now we have more spirit than we've ever had before. After years of recruiting shortages, we couldn't get guys or gals to become sailors. 1 year ago, they didn't want to be a sailor. Although I must say, once I said we're going to run, a lot of people, it made it better. But let's go back 2 years, and it was even worse. Because there was no hope. We had this horrible, horrible president who had no clue what the hell was happening. The chances of him walking down those stairs successfully were not good. And I have to be careful, because one day I'm going to probably fall. No, the North Carolina women said that will never happen to you. I always say, walk down the steps nice and slow. You ever notice I do nice? I don't have to bop down the stairs. Walk nice and slowly. But we have a waiting list. Think of this. We have a waiting list for people wanting to get into the United States Navy, the Army, Navy, Coast Guard, Marines, Space Force. Oh, we love Space Force. But think of it. We have a waiting list for every branch of government now. And that includes police and firemen. They didn't want to. Nobody wanted to be a policeman. Now they want to be a policeman. Now they want to be in the Navy. They want to be in the Air Force so badly. The Marines, the Army, they want to be in all of it. They love Space Force. I love Space Force because I created Space Force. That was my thing. And it's going to turn out to be one of the most important. But 1 year ago, our country was dead. We had a dead country. People say, sir, you shouldn't say that. It's too straight. We had a dead country, and today we have the hottest country anywhere in the world by far. 1 year, think of it. 1 year ago, we were dead. The King of Saudi Arabia said to me, President, 1 year ago, we thought we lost America. We thought it was a dead country, and now you have the hottest country anywhere in the world. He said that. I use this term. And I'm pleased to say that 2025 was the Navy's single best recruiting year ever. Not bad. So you went from those embarrassing headlines of a year ago. Think of it. Nobody wants to go into the Navy. How does that make you feel? Now you have a different problem. You know what the problem is? Everybody wants your job. I like that better, right? No, but nobody's going to take your job. You were with us when it was not as nice. It wasn't as nice. Those are the people I like the best, too. The people that were with me when it wasn't looking so good, like these ladies from North Carolina. They were with me when it wasn't looking that good. A lot of fake scandals were created, all fake. One of those eager new recruits is 18-year-old Aiden Rollins, a recruit like I'm so proud of. Aiden's father was a sailor, his grandfather was a sailor, and after 4 years of Navy ROTC, it is Aiden's turn to carry on that tradition.